clearly you've got a lot to talk about in terms of how far the union has come in the last 10 years and what still is left to be achieved, or the last 20, and what's left to be achieved. Do you wish you had got further with banking union?
Good morning. Indeed, as regards deepening of economic and monetary union, one of the key issues in short term is to complete the banking union, and actually later today we have a Eurogroup meeting where we are going to discuss it and hopefully make progress on concrete issues like, for example, backstop for the Single Resolution Fund, and also discussing further steps regarding European Deposit Insurance Scheme.
You know, Valdis, Matt Miller here in Berlin. We talked to a lot of banking CEOs on Bloomberg television, and all of those chief executives that I talked to say consolidation is really being held up by a lack of banking union progress. Specifically, they say it's too difficult to move assets around in between European countries. How much longer will they have to wait until they can start to really move on their consolidation plans?
Well, first of all, as regards movement of assets, this is also the issue of EU single market, and of course there is a free movement of capital within EU single market. So I wouldn't say this is necessarily something which is hindering developing of a banking union. But in the case as regards progress on the banking union, we are in the final stages of negotiation of so-called banking package, which is to introduced international standards, prudential standards in EU legislation, and we hope to make progress also on other issues like backstop to the Single Resolution Fund and further work towards European Deposit Insurance Scheme. And on top of this, it's important that banking union is also complemented by capital markets union, where we also would like to put main building blocks in place still till the next European Parliament elections.
Let me ask you a little bit about what's going on in Italy. We see reports this morning in one source, Messaggero, saying that Di Maio and Salvini are ready to accept new targets. What's the latest from your perspective on Italy? Do you hear that the Italians are ready to move to new budget targets?
Indeed, we are in intensive contact with Italian authorities. Later today, I also have a meeting with Minister Tria to discuss exactly those issues. And what is positive, the tone of discussion has changed. Indeed, Italian authorities signal that they are ready to make adjustments to their 2019 budget. But of course, it's worth noting that current budgetary plan is substantially deviating from the requirements, so therefore it would require substantial correction of next year's budget plan.
Is it possible that you could come up with a compromise? I mean, I know that the Commission wants to see less than 2%, and Italy wants to currently have a deficit of 2.4%. Could you meet in the middle?
Well, we currently would not engage in discussions on exact figures. I think what is required according to the EU fiscal rules is well known. For next year, it's a structural effort of 0.6% of GDP. Currently, we have, according to Italy's government old calculations, 0.8% of GDP worsening. So we see that the gap is quite substantial. Therefore, also the adjustment which would be needed is quite substantial.
So let me ask you, I know you don't want to be drawn into maybe those very specific figures, but in terms of that deficit target that is much talked about, is it possible that a number that is still over 2% in terms of that budget deficit would be enough to satisfy the Commission?
Of course, we need to see concrete plans, concrete measures, but I emphasize once again that what we normally would expect is a small positive structural effort instead of substantial structural deterioration as it is right now.
When we get some kind of, or if we get an impasse, do you expect that there will be procedures set in place to to set that right?
Well, we are currently indeed in intensive negotiations with Italian authorities. So first and foremost, we must see what concrete will be put forward in terms of adjusting its 2019 budget. As regards procedures, currently the procedures are running their own course. So as you know, we have concluded that opening the excessive deficit procedure related to debt is warranted, and if there's no changes, ready to proceed with the next steps as regarding excessive deficit procedure.
I'm looking. You've said that the tone with Italy has changed. Salvini is speaking at the moment, and he's saying that the EU is showing a constructive attitude on the budget. What has changed here, Commissioner? Why this sudden outbreak of why this sudden ability to find common ground?
Well, first and foremost, European Commission has all the time emphasized that we are open to dialogue with Italian authorities, and once we see the same openness also from Italy's side, of course, we can engage constructively.